Greetings, everybody. It is the 9th of March. I'm filming this in the morning, but it's to be released later on in the day. And I am going to today I'm going to be finishing chapter 2 of my paper. The chapter 2 is named MCM as Human Tragedy, Mass Child Maltreatment. If you haven't been following along, this is basically where we explain the damage that takes place in people's lives. And this on its own is enough that we should be willing to put in more effort to stop it. We haven't, but we should. Let's get into the text. I don't really have anything to waffle about. Divorces, especially highly contested ones, are among the most common contemporary sources of ACEs and are correlated with other ones, adverse childhood experiences from the last video. They often involve loyalty struggles which make the home into an unsafe place. Kids do not have the resources to leave these homes on their own and are at the mercy of family courts or the reckless decisions that can be caused by jealousy. I'm going to bring up a case study below to describe this process. Quote, "My parents filed for divorce when I was approximately 10 years old. I remember the desperation and the sense of emptiness I had inside me for months after the announcement. I also clearly remember the day I returned home from school and saw my dad packing his things into the car. I was close to him because he spent a lot of time with me while my mother was working all day, so he left, which made me feel very alone. I was living with my mom, and of course I was not alone, but I missed him and the way he would defend me when I would struggle academically. After he left home, the real battle started. On paper, they had a common consent divorce. This is what our socially liberal friends in the sense that Rick Wilson would say, that the Lincoln Project would say, our MAGA friends, our socially liberal friends would tell you that that's the good kind. Really, there is no good kind. It's all it can be is the lesser of two evils. But whatever. Anyway. But they were not able to handle their emotions. Who is? Anyway, my father left home because he had a new person in my life. And frankly, it's a little bit fair in my opinion. My mother could not accept that at all. My sister and I suffered through their arguments and fights. She is younger than me, so I was trying to protect her, and that made me the subject of vicious attacks. I had to protect and defend my mother because my father was the villain. I had to hate him. I had to attack him for his failures, which were real and perceived. At the same time, I had to help my mother get over the divorce and try to help her feel better. The burden on my shoulders was heavy I could understand at the time. I was trying to mediate and please both of them, and it was simply possible. It was simply not possible. It made me feel alone and depressed. I never admitted to my depression and loneliness, even myself. I pretended that I was strong. This is, by the way, this is a very dangerous thing to do. If there are any children that watch my videos, especially now, don't do this. This is a very dangerous thing to do. Don't do that. You can get narcissism by doing this. You can become you can literally train yourself out of ever being able to admit that you're wrong or learn anything by doing this. But I know it's very tempting. Ask me how. I've done it. And it almost ruined the rest of my life. I'm very glad that I had to suffer through COVID and through personal struggles in order to get out of that. Anyway, after being a few years of being in the middle and trying to be accepted by everyone, by both sides, I stopped seeing. I was so tired and finally picked sides. I stopped seeing my father. I would not be the mediator, and I would not have a relationship with him for the next 20 years. As an adult, I am offended that I felt forced to pick sides. It was not my role to be in the middle. Well, no shit. That's why it's an institution that shouldn't exist very much. It was not my role to know who makes more money or spends more on me. It was not my role to pick sides. It was not my role to hear that my father abandoned his marriage because of a third person in his life. Gee, I wonder what. I wonder who else had to suffer through that. Yeah, it really. A lot of things. A lot of my flaws came from that. Anyway. I knew all of these things, and they were poison for me as a child. It took me years and a lot of therapy to find a balance and recreate a relationship with myself and healthy relationships with my parents. She was able to do that. Some people aren't. I was as well. Absolutely astonishing. But I was. As a professional mediator now, I've encountered these same damaging behaviors from so many of my clients. Which, of course you have. Again, I believe I have described that there are, and if I don't, I will later on, there are somewhere between 20 and 40 million people that had to go through what's it called? Parental alienation. Anyway, I've encountered these same dangerous behaviors. I know that it's not easy, and I do not blame these parents because I can understand how hard it is for them. Sorry for the poor lighting. It's the problem when you use natural light. I do not blame these parents because I understand how hard it is, but I wanted to create a story that helps them realize what they're doing to their children. Well, good job. Not just your own story. I believe he wrote like a book about this. This guy is called, I'm going to check my citation. Her name is Despina Mavridou. Even if it was perfectly sustainable and only the people who were harmed as children themselves were affected, which may still be 70% more of our population, which makes this impossible, which makes it impossible to be healthy in a democracy. This is still intolerable and dystopian. I refuse to believe that this is what we want as a society, no matter how little we're willing to sacrifice to avoid it. I will see you all next week with a Saturday Fireside and a reading from this paper. I will see you all next week. God bless you, all of you. God bless you, the American people, and everybody else that listens to me. Everybody else that needs to know this stuff. And I might see you earlier if something really extreme happens. So far, nothing extreme has happened enough in the middle of the week for me to do that, but I might. Take care. God bless you. Bye.